Despair, would you follow me there? If I showed you my scars, could you still see the stars in my eyes beyond the tears that I cry sometimes? Because there are days when it just hurts to be me. And people aren't so good with pain because people aren't so good with helpless. You recognize this early in life and master the masking of your own private hell, protecting people from the depths of your pain so that they can stay comfortably shallow while you continue to drown in your imperfections and never tell. I remember as a child wondering what it felt like to be alive, if the burden weighing me down and making me believe I was worthless, did it have a name? I'm guessing it's shame. It is a paralyzing equalizer, placing predator and prey in the same common experience. With the same feelings of helplessness and fear, it is the untold lie creating predestined tears blazing trails into the flesh of your cheeks, like acid. But no matter the pain, conditioned to remain placid, placing restrictions on dreams as it welcomes defeat, the world passing you by while you stare at your feet and ponder the monetary value of a child's soul. Sold. I was 9 years old, when I should have been playing with dolls and skipping down halls, when my surroundings should have been fields of green lying under a tree staring up at the blue, chasing raindrops and rainbows, laughing for no particular reason other than I was a child and that's what kids do. But my reality, it was a concrete slab with 4 concrete walls and grown men in every direction. Each step I take places me in a hypnotic trance, an imaginative dance that carries my mind to the safe enclosures of a hidden reality my body would never have the luxury of escaping to. 9 years old and maybe 25 kilos of fragile bones that made a ballerina's frame look huge, comparatively speaking. Nowhere to run, and so I fought the dark while I imagined the light, broken and bound, pleading they do right by me. Daddy, please. I'm sorry. Can't we just rewrite this story? Don't let them hurt me. I love you, can't you see? Pleading for a father's protection. Persistent prayers landing on deaf ears, seemingly bad connection. And even though he was worse than any other, I held faith in the face of a familiar stranger, convincing myself when it mattered most, he would protect me from danger. After all, he was my father. And don't men protect their daughter? Too scared to count the tears I never cried, all the pain I held inside, all the times I thought I died, all the times I wished I had. But beyond the childhood abuses sat my adult excuses. And so now, walking the line between heartache and grace, I stand proud in this world and step into my place, using my life to be one that inspires, speaking to others and lifting them higher, igniting the fire that fuels their desire, letting them know that in their darkest hour, hope is a gift inside us all that catches us each time we fall. So I will rise up and speak and be that voice for the millions and millions of voiceless whose stories need to be told because bodies continue to be sold. I will stand tall in the freedom forgiveness gifted me. Let me say that again. I will stand tall in the freedom forgiveness gifted me, and be that reminder that you can still fly on broken wings, and it matters not how hard we land, but that we eventually stand rising to soar to infinite heights. I hope to shine a light as bright as that North Star in the Canadian wild, diamonds in the night sky I wished upon as a child, because society pled ignorant, stayed misinformed and comfortably numb. Well, may I submit to you this? Are we really that dumb to think the slave trade and exploitation of young girls is a foreign issue? Domestic daughters' greatest stress, education. Evidently no need for emancipation, hiding behind the deluded excuses that our backyards are clean of gender abuses. And so what of the 14-year-olds and the 5-inch palms working that one-block stroll? Or the 12-year-old runaway who believed the grown man who told her that daddy missed out on a precious angel? And so long as she does what she is told, he will love her unconditionally, sold. We're trading people for pesos, for pounds, francs, and dollars, rupees and rands for the purchase of our daughters. The currency generated, non-discriminatory, Cambodian, Canadian, it's the same criminal story. So maybe men need to step up and teach boys that girls are not toys, to be used and abused, that you come correct and treat a girl with respect or you don't come at all. Maybe if men and boys knew that the first time they lay an unwanted hand on an unwilling soul, life as she knows it will never be the same at all. And just maybe if that girl remains protected and connected and forever respected, she will grow up and show up and be a force to be reckoned with. Her hopes and ambitions will come into fruition. Her sons and daughters beneficiaries of what life taught her. Pursuing solutions for the existence of an ideal world. There be no tolerance for violence against women and girls. Public outcry sparks aspirations for an introduction to inoculation, a powerful concoction, a collective immunity against degradation, abuse, rape, cruelty. By injecting empathy into the veins of humanity, let's combat apathy, our conditioned insanity. For apathy is the underlying current in a sea of silent observers, granting themselves permission to turn the other cheek to issues far too dark and much too bleak. Empathy is the driving force of action, its birthplace requiring but a fraction of one's compassion, one's moral obligation to stand tall and catch others otherwise destined to fall, for half the sky is held up by women and girls, and the slave trade is hardly exclusive to third worlds. There was 12 steps to the bottom of that basement, and I will remember the walk for as long as I live. Before I start, I would just like to acknowledge and personally thank you, Rosie, for the tireless work you are doing for this cause and to praise your courage and strength. You have turned something so tragic into a powerful message and growing movement that is creating immeasurable and lasting change and saving people's lives. So thank you so much. I believe, like Hillary Clinton, that the rights of women and girls is the unfinished business of the 21st century. But how are we to have solution-based discussion when the problem and the conversation continue to be swept under the carpet? And people are content to stick their heads in the sand rather than address the issues and sometimes even acknowledge that there's a problem. You know, if I had $1, maybe not an Australian dollar at the moment, but any other dollar, for every time I heard, "Oh God, I don't think I can read your story. It's just too horrific, the level of trauma you survived." I understand that nobody has the world as her audience, except her. But what I did do successfully was draw on people's empathy, not their pity. I was able to transform the way in which the victim story is told. Now, some may deem my story extreme and place it at that end of the spectrum, but the one very important fact I want everyone here tonight to remember is this. My abuse started at home. Everything that happened to me was created in the isolation and inhibiting factors born in an environment torn apart by domestic violence. And I think, there's many contributors to domestic violence, but I think one of a really big enabler would be indifference, complacency. we've lost our ability to empathize, and we just kind of live in our own little bubbles and not really concern ourselves with what's going on with other people. And I think that's a huge problem. And Elie Wiesel is a Holocaust survivor, Nobel Peace Prize winner, and he also is quoted as saying, "At the very least, we must bear witness so that history needn't be repeated." I agree with that. If somebody has the courage and strength of character to not only survive, but speak publicly on and write about their lived experience, I think the least we can do is bear witness. And just quickly, for those who are considering reading my story and think that they're not sure how they're going to cope with sitting on pins and needles, wondering if I do in fact make it out alive. Spoiler alert, it ends well, she makes it. My name is Carrie Bailey, and I'm the product of poverty, domestic violence, homelessness, child abuse, but I am also the product of intervention, of love, compassion, grace, of forgiveness, security, and second chances. I'm the product of people stepping in and offering a hand. People who believed in me when I didn't have the ability to believe in myself. I'm really nervous. I'm better at the poem.
You're so awesome.
My mother never had that in the way that I did. And I think where our stories differ invariably, it was because I was able to get to a point in my life, thanks to the support and love of so many people, where I believed I was in fact worthy of love and belonging. Anyone who ever hears a portion of my backstory always asks me the same question. It pisses me off, but it's the same question every time. Where was your mother when this was happening to you? I'm no Rhodes Scholar, but my question would probably be, how could your father do something like that to his own daughter? Followed by, what happened to him that made him the monster that he became? But it's always the first question. We always blame the woman. We always blame the mom. And it's not fair.